Inside the Game, back live across your airwaves, your episode 285 on the National Soccer Network. Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky. That thing's loud this morning. Welcome back in to the show here.
Gotta wake you
on
up.
This Monday. I'm up. I'm ready to rock and roll, if you will. But what's up, Ryan? How was your weekend? I know we both went to the same concert. Bruno Mars stopping by Detroit. So you went on Saturday, I went on Sunday. I gotta admit, all right, and I'm man enough. I'm man enough I'm man enough to be able to say this. The guy can sing. He is very, very good. He sounds exactly the same, obviously live, that he does in all of his songs, which is yeah, his range is really good. I thought his set was excellent. Not gonna lie, I didn't know half the songs that he performed. The oldies, obviously, I knew. The oldies, I knew. Obviously, like everyone knows the classics, the goodies. But yeah, outside of that, there were a few that I didn't know. But he's good, Ryan. He's good.
Yeah, I could have told you that, but you just wanted to be a hater and be like, it's not Green Day. It's not Green Day. So, it's not good. It's just Walmart music. I got to be a hater to just be different from everyone else. Could have told you that you could have just seen his live sets. When you go from Nirvana and you do a little combination of Nirvana and Michael Jackson straight into Seven Nation Army, yeah, that's not Walmart music, my friend. I don't even think your boy Billy Joe Armstrong could do that after he's too busy complaining about Justin Bieber and how he's got 1 minute left. I keep seeing that video for some odd reason. It's really weird that I constantly see that video of him crashing out.
What you talking about?
He was like 2010, and he was told 1 minute left of the end of the set, and he's like, 1 minute left? I've been here since the 80s. I'm not waiting for Justin Bieber. And he got all upset that he was getting kicked off the stage. I don't know, Billy. Maybe you're just not that good compared to everyone else, and maybe they do want Justin Bieber to be on the stage. Not you. We already got a handful of comments coming in already. Brian Truddy, 568, says, Christian Pulisic being injured bears no weight on the U.S. men's national team. We didn't have a chance of making it past the round of 32 anyway. I think we do get past round of 32. And I said, Pulisic's our best player. It obviously would help us. He goes, Pulisic being our best player isn't saying much. So Brian is also on the hater train as you, Nate. You guys just be hating on everything. So, hey, if my team was getting relegated into League One as well, Brian, I'd also be hating everything as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, Brian's just in a bad place right now. I will say, I mean, does it make is it a make or break? I mean, is it what's his wins above replacement? What is Christian Pulisic's?
I don't think they do that in soccer.
War stat in soccer. No, I'm kidding. But
yeah, this isn't baseball. We don't got to get analytical about every little thing.
We'll get to we have VAR, and obviously that is a part of our show today. We're gonna do another
analytics. It's review
here on Inside the Game. But it's getting lost in the sauce. Same, different, but same. So
it's not the same.
But
one's review, one is review. One of them is, which, by the way, did you see the UFL? What they do? They interview refs on the field after questionable calls. It's so funny.
Really?
And like the refs want no part of it, but they're like literally trying to get them to answer all the questions. I think it's great.
You know what? This is a complete rabbit trail based off of what I thought this intro was going to be. But let me tell you this. They need to allow referees to be interviewed after games. Point blank, period, end of story. They need to allow the media to be able to ask those guys questions. And not just like Jim Joyce blowing a perfect game, which obviously that moment was so historic that you had to talk. Like there was no way you couldn't talk to him about what the hell happened out there. But no, like, referees need to be able to answer questions by the media. 100%. I agree.
Yeah, that is like obviously yesterday in the Arsenal West Ham game should have been mentioned, or that should have been an interview, and I'm sure we will hear the audio released of that, because I will say EPL does a good job of just they're like, F it, let's just release all the audio from the VAR situation. It doesn't matter, just release it all. It's just like releasing all the files, all the secret government files that everyone thinks, all the conspiracies. Just release it all. Who cares? They'll make what they want out of it. But no, yesterday It's the right call. That was the right call. That's all I got to say.
Ooh, yeah. So, anyways, referees doing interviews. No, I like that, and I like the UFL's ability to kind of branch out and do different things.
Well, it's the
obviously
NFL,
the NFL
guinea pig. That's what the UFL is.
Oh yeah, it's like a testing ground.
Yeah, they're like, let's try the new kickoffs. Let's try all this and that, and then like that's all the UFL is. It will only be the NFL guinea pig. That's all they. That's the only reason why the UFL exists, is so that the NFL can try new rules and test things out on that league, see how it's portrayed, and then implement it in its own game. That's the only reason the UFL will ever exist.
Yeah, that's fair. So anyways, Bruno was great yesterday. I just found out, by the way, again, I was looking at the upcoming list of people. They're going to have the Final Four in Detroit next year, so
stupid.
That will be fun.
Stupid.
Yeah, the 74 teams now playing in the March Madness tournament.
Oh, I was just saying the Final Four is just stupid.
Oh, having it in an NFL stadium, is that what you're talking about?
I mean, I understand why, but I'm just saying watching the Final Four from an NFL style stadium is just one of the dumbest things that people could ever come up with.
Yeah, I would agree. Let's get into our MLS Match Day 12 recap here in hour number 1 of the show. Again, thanks to anybody joining us inside the game, as well as Sports Nation on social media. Ryan, let's get into it. Let's take a look at everything that happened in Major League Soccer over the weekend, as well as some of our big keys.
Yeah, and a rant, because people still don't believe that it's a retirement league, yet Messi all of a sudden becomes the quickest player to 100 goal contributions, and he's played in 64 games. That's weird how it all works. Anyway, Inter Miami finally gets a win. It's been a long time since they've gotten a win, and they beat Toronto FC 4-2. Which Messi was able to break his 100 goal contributions, which is the quickest in MLS history. It took him just 100 games to get 164 games. He's got 59 goals, 41 assists to reach 100 regular season goal contributions. Yeah, this league it's great. It's great. Portland on the other side, they get 6 goals. How about that? Past Sporting Kansas City, which Sporting Kansas City a couple years ago was like this great thing, and all of a sudden, like, they've really, really had a fall from grace. They continue to plummet down the I guess the depths of MLS soccer. Which, by the way, there's no promotion relegation, so they won't get punished for that at all. But yeah, 4 goals in the first half. That's crazy. And Venezuelan striker Kevin Kelsey had 2 goals, 2 assists in that game. Also the largest margin of victory in Portland history. Fun fact. New England Revolution kind of hanging under the radar a little bit. They get another 3 points against Philadelphia, which they're second in the East right now, which means that their game on Wednesday against Nashville will be a battle for the top 2 teams in the East. This one's for our good friend Nate Wangler. New York City actually played inside Yankee Stadium this past weekend, as they won 3-0 thanks to Hans Wolf getting a hat trick at Yankee Stadium. They get the 3-0 victory there over our good friends, the Columbus Crew, at the For the Crew podcast. Minnesota United, which I'm going to have to make a video on this again just because of how much Minnesota United loves me over there. James Rodriguez, who joined the team, has now played his last game for Minnesota United as he leaves the club to prepare for Colombian World Cup prep on May 17th. So this was his final game. And he did end it with a bang. He did get 2 assists last night as they drew with Austin FC, but really nothing after that. So, I mean, the MLS is trying to get somehow Jack McGlynn on the U.S. men's national team roster. Don't really understand what's going on there, as he had a good performance against LAFC with Houston Dynamo winning last night 4-1. But to be completely honest with you, not anything really crazy going on the rest of the weekend in terms of anything else. I mean, we did get 3 red cards, one in each game. Each team got a red card in the Colorado Rapids, St. Louis SC game. But other than that, not a whole lot. I just got to say, Messi walking into this league and just dominating is just a bad look. But I'll get more of a rant on that afterwards. But yeah, just to take a look around the league in the MLS.
Could it be that despite the fact that Messi is not what he was in his prime, which was performing at the top of his game in the top leagues in this world, that he's still Lionel Messi? Like we talked about this with when it came to MJ. Thing is about MJ, even MJ in a Wizards uniform, anytime he was on the floor, Michael Jordan was the best player out there. It doesn't matter where they went. It doesn't matter who they played. He was the best player on the floor. And for the majority of LeBron's career, I don't know, I wouldn't say his whole career. I think here at the tail end of his career, there are better players than him. But arguably, you could say for the majority of his career, wherever he went, he was the best player on the floor. And I still think that Lionel Messi, in many leagues, would still be, if not the best player in the league, certainly top 5, top 10 in that echelon. Just because he's not in one of the best leagues in the world doesn't mean he's still not Lionel Messi. I mean, the IQ doesn't go away. The soccer sense doesn't go away. The ability to navigate through tight spaces and do all of these things that are involved in the game. And I think IQ being the most important of all of those, because if you have a high IQ, you can make your career last decades. Like, I'm talking about the players that understand what it is that's in front of them on a deeper level than anybody else around. And we're going to talk about the most brilliant soccer minds. Yeah, I mean, yes, I think Messi is maybe the most talented. I also think he's far stronger than I'm sure a lot of people give him credit. That's what a lot of former legends have said, is that the guy is just, he's a brick. You can't move him. But more than anything else, the brain is going to keep you around longer in whatever professional sport it is. Much longer than what your legs are, much longer than anything else. The brain is gonna keep you around. I understand that it's wild to think that he got there that quickly, and this isn't me arguing on the behalf of Major League Soccer saying it's one of the best leagues in the world, but he's still Lionel Messi. I don't think you can really take anything away from the brilliance we see on a nightly basis. I think it defies logic in a lot of ways because of his longevity, because of how long he's been doing it. I'm not saying the MLS is anything but, I think, a retirement league, but I still think that he's still Lionel Messi. And so that matters for something at the end of the day.
I mean, it depends what he does in the World Cup. We'll find out if he's truly the Messi, but I mean, this guy is playing against bona fide scrubs, as Stephen A. Smith likes to say. He's a bona fide scrub. He can't play. Like, that's and the fact that he's able to do this in, I think, 2.5 years at this point in the regular season, 100 goal contributions in 64 games, it shows that you're unable to do this. Like, this league is just incapable of being top. A top league is what I'm trying to say, is because there's no way. As much as I love Messi, as much as I think he's the greatest player of all time, which, by the way, Fabian asked, will LeBron retire this season? I sure hope so, because he's about to get knocked out of the playoffs yet again. He's not going to win another championship for the rest of his career unless he joins the Thunder for a league minimum to ring chase. But no, outside of that, no, he won't be this season. I hope he retires, though. I'm sick of him. I will say I'm not really looking forward to his podcast when it comes out. He'll probably do it in a middle school gym to announce he's going to have a podcast, so who knows. Maybe he should do a podcast with Draymond Green. That'd be pretty funny. Those two together. Anyway, it's sad to see, because you look at, bum strikers out there like Timo Werner who come into this league and they start to deliver. Kaká was great. Zlatan was unbelievable, and they just show up, they do their thing. Olivier Giroud was even pretty good. Like, they all just show up, they do their thing, and then they eventually just leave again, and it's like nothing really happened. Like, this isn't helping improve our league at all. The only thing that it's really doing is bringing publicity to it, I guess, because that's what everyone wants to see, is just, they want to see the best of the best, and that's obviously what Messi is. Like, I remember I Hate Soccer podcast guy talked about, I've never seen a team celebrate, I've never seen a home team cheer for the away team scoring a goal when Messi scored inside a Mile High Stadium. He's like, I've never seen that. No one cheers for that. Like, even as much as, like, the little teams in England or whatever, like, when they see an Erling Haaland score in the ground, they don't cheer for it, but it's like, dude, that's kind of cool. We got to see Erling Haaland play, but we're not cheering for it. It's just stupid. And the whole thing with Messi, is he still the greatest player on the face of the planet right now? I probably would say no, based on the league that he's playing and the competition he's playing in. If he was doing this still in Europe for Barca or whoever it was, maybe that would have a little bit more weight to the argument there. But we won't truly know until the World Cup if he's still truly the best player in the world. I just think Messi's completely fine getting able to walk into a grocery store. No one knows who the hell he is. He picks up his groceries with his family. He walks out. He goes home. And I think that's all he's loving. Like, there's a video of him putting his car in valet to go into a restaurant, and there's tons of people walking around. And nobody, and I mean nobody, outside of the person filming it, actually knows who this guy is. In Miami, he just walks in. There's no, like, photography. It's literally just this one guy who's a big Inter Miami fan who just wanted to take a video and just wanted to say hello to Messi. That's all he wanted to do. And everyone else walking by, they're just like, no one batted an eye. I think that's all that Messi really cares about.
He's not a big guy either. I mean, like, I feel like
5'5".
it would be easy to I mean, you would lose him in the shuffle. So, I felt the same way. I mean, obviously, this is apples and oranges, I understand. But, like, Griffins used to come into
I really want to know where this hockey player comparison is going to come into with Lionel Messi.
No. I just never noticed any. I didn't recognize any of them. I followed hockey.
We're going to compare the minor league hockey team to Messi.
No, obviously for myself though. Like I follow the Red Wings. You know, like I know who these dudes are, but like I would never recognize them when they were actually because they just look like regular guys. But like Messi. Again, like out and about is just a regular dude. It'd be one thing if we're talking about like an NBA player because they're 6'8". Like you ain't gonna miss Wemby when he walks in the room. Like, you know, we're all like, all right, okay,
God, Wemby.
Like, not damn. I mean, like, dude's an alien. But outside of that, like Messi could probably blend into the crowd at least a little bit easier. Like, if he's rocking some shades and a hat or something, which I don't know if he was in this video. I've never seen the video in question. It was just, oh, okay. All right. Then that's, I guess, a little bit more surprising, especially in Miami, too. Because, you know, those people, they love their Messi, man. Like, they go nuts for that guy. So, but you're right. You're right about we're going to see exactly what he still has in the tank in the World Cup. I think, you know, to your point about, you know, dominating the league, sometimes I do think he just throws it in cruise control in the MLS. And we see that with him, and it still works. So, you know, have we seen the most of him? Have we seen, you know, kind of the last dance will be this World Cup. And so, you know, if he is even at remotely at the same level that he was at in 2022, I mean, I think we can still confidently say that he's the best player on the planet. But you don't lose the ability to play the game. You don't lose the ability to see the game in front of you. Legs might be a little bit slower, but again, you know, and from what I've learned about this sport, it's so much about it's less about raw power and speed and the things that we look for in young players. It's important, but it's a lot more the technical side, which obviously he's never going to lose that.
So obviously the top 5 in goal contributions, Messi number 1, Sebastian Giovinco, which is kind of funny that, you know, he was a Toronto FC player and he does it against Toronto FC. Messi, that is. Robbie Keane, obviously everyone knows about the LA Galaxy legend. Carlos Vela, Joseph Martinez, those are the top 5. But let's just take a look at, I didn't put this up on the screen or anything, but I just did a quick Google search. Thierry Henry, 122 matches, 51 goals, 42 assists. David Villa, 60-plus goals in just about the same amount of games. Zlatan, 56 goal contributions in 58 games. Oh, my Lord. Wayne Rooney, he had 23 goals, 15 assists, and 48. Bradley Wright Phillips, 100-plus goals, among the highest goal scorers of all time. And then, obviously, even Christian Benteke put up numbers. Oh, my God. This just makes this league look worse and worse. And everyone gets mad like you call it, that I call it a retirement league. Guys, look. When you have these players in the twilight of their career, you're telling me Thierry Henry had 51 goals and 42 assists. As much as I love TT, as much as I love that guy, I think he's obviously he's the one guy out there on TV that defends Arsenal and you know, obviously he's a club legend, our greatest player of all time. Obviously. But you're telling me this dude at like 36, 35 or whatever year it was, this guy's dominated in the MLS. He's putting up these types of numbers, and then Zlatan, for crying out loud. 56 goal contributions in 58 games. And I bet you the games he didn't score in, dude probably played like 20 minutes. That was probably the only time he didn't score. This guy comes in, his first game in the MLS, he does like a bicycle kick from like 30 yards out and scores. Like, this is a problem. This is a massive problem when it comes to our domestic game. We love the USL here. We love the USL. It's an authentic game. It's, bringing kids up through the academies. Not to say the MLS doesn't, because they do, but it feels like when it comes to the MLS, to solve most of their problems, they just bring in a David Villa, a Lionel Messi, which is a great problem to have, by the way, a Heung-min Son, a Thomas Mueller, a Timo Werner, a James Rodriguez from Minnesota, and now he's gone. But that just doesn't feel like an authentic product. It just feels like it is, we're just going to give a quarterback $5 million in NIL just to solve things here, and then it won't solve anything in the league. It won't solve anything. It's just going to create more problems. This is a problem, guys. This is a problem of having players like this in the twilight of their careers. Look, in their primes, which I'm not calling these players I just listed mid, just so everyone knows.
I'm going to cut it up so that they think you are. I'm going to post it on social media.
I'm calling these players. Then, all right, we'll get another 250,000 viewed video. I don't care. I'm calling these players when they enter the league mid in the twilight of their careers. Obviously, they're great players. I'm telling you, when these players come into your league, they dominate this way. It'd be like sending LeBron, KD, and Steph into the English basketball league, and they just dominate and drop 30-plus points a game at the age of 45.
Yeah.
Can't have that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Real Madrid does have a basketball team. They're also a basketball club at the same exact time. Yeah, exactly. So, they could go play for them.
No wonder that's where he gets his flopping and his crying from. I will say, I did like Luka Doncic until he played the NBA Finals against, I think it was the Celtics, and then he just complained at everything. Like, he clearly fouled the dude and then pointed to the bench and said, review it. You're telling me that's, like, you clearly fouled the guy, Luka. Dave, bro, you heard it here. Thierry Henry is mid. Yeah, how's Rangers doing this year, Dave? What's Rangers going to do? I heard Celtics still in the mix. Hearts is still getting in the mix. I don't know if Rangers
You see that bicycle kick the other day?
Yes, I did. You did. Yeah, I did see that. The Celtic one.
That was nasty, man. That was freaking cool.
There should be a retirement age for sports. It sucks to see players in downfall. Just like boxing and MMA. There's an age limit in boxing and MMA?
No. What he's talking about is like the old guys who stick around for too long, and then they just get destroyed.
I was going to say, if there's an age limit in MMA and boxing, that's just so they don't get CTE.
No. I mean, it was like, didn't Ali lose a couple of fights like late in his career, like when he was past his prime or whatever?
So he was just trying to get his money because he lost it all?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, that's the thing about, like, what he said about Floyd and, like, picking his fights the other day. Yeah, like, Floyd's done that where, like, he ran out of money, and so he would just, like,
fought Logan Paul.
Yeah. Or Conor McGregor, too. Like, he knew. Like, you ain't going to get an MMA guy to train for 6 months.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
I like Conor McGregor, though. But I know we got to. I don't know.
To give you an idea, before we take a break, and I know we got to get to one here soon, I used to know, so I had a friend who worked at Dunham's here in Grand Rapids, and Floyd was here. I don't know if it was for like a charity or something like that. Obviously, he's from GR, but he stops into Dunham's, and he got every single pair of their Nike socks that they had in the store. Every
Floyd
single pair of Nike
socks. Pair of socks?
Every pair of Nike socks. And they were talking to him. Apparently what he does is he wears one pair of socks, throws them away, and then wears a new pair. I'm like, that's
just stupid. That is like the dumbest thing you could do.
That's dumb.
That's
so wasteful.
That is really dumb. That's like me spending money at going to a Michigan State football game, and they're not playing Michigan. It's basically what it is.
Let's get to a commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about the most stressful match Ryan's ever seen in his life. But first, FC Bayern Summer Soccer Camps are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, fostering football excellence across North America. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, FC Bayern Camps deliver elite training inspired by FC Bayern Munich's world-class philosophy. Select your city and start a promising soccer path. Right now, save $30 on registration by using promo code BayernNSN30. Again, that's BayernNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Learn more at FCBayernYouth.com.
So the dream behind Irene's was simply to be a place where the community could come and gather. This is my hometown. We're raising our family here, and we just want to be a space where people can come together as a community and share a great meal. We've got golf simulators, we got pinball, live music, trivia nights, but we also have fresh, always homemade, locally sourced food, and we serve it with a sense of Gemütlichkeit. This is a German word that conveys a sense of warmth and coziness and belonging. We're excited to show off how we're growing and that this is the place to be.
And we say welcome back in, live on Inside the Game, episode 285 here on the National Soccer Network. I'm Nate Wangler. That is Ryan Glinsky. Let's get into topic number 2 here, the most stressful match you have ever watched in your life, which is amazing considering all the stressful sporting events we've had in a stretch of, I don't know,
Nate,
a
what's
month,
your
couple
t-shirt
of
size?
months. I'm an XL. Well, for what?
I don't know. Fabian
Talking a jersey here?
Fabian says, remember to send me your t-shirt sizes for when I go to Peru. I'm a large, Fabian. I don't know what Nate is.
I'm kind of a fatty, so give me a 2X if that
right.
if that's so 2X would probably be the way to go. Appreciate you though, big dog. Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks, Bobby. Yeah, woo! I love a t-shirt. But anyways, yeah, let's talk about this, right? Because you made a whole video yesterday and some controversy in this matchup, in Arsenal's match.
If you say that this is a foul, you are just a hater. And I will get to the I want to talk about the game first. I'll get to the call a little bit later. Dave, you can now mute the show for the next probably 10, 15 minutes if you want. That's up to you, my man. Fabian says, I'm going to get you an autograph jersey. All right, shout out, my man.
Nice.
Just as long as it's not Kylian Mbappe, that's all that matters, right? That's all that matters. Anyway, I would need 40 million Kylian Mbappe signatures. That's what I would say, Fabian. But no, that game yesterday, most stressful game I think I've ever seen. That final 15 minutes might be the deciding factor of the title. Those final 15 minutes. When you have Mateus Fernandes one-on-one with your keeper, and my heart sinks to the floor, I go, no way we're about to give up a goal right here. And all Fernandes had to do was put it in the right corner. That's all he had to do. Open up your hips, put it in the right corner, he gets past Raya. No, he shoots it straight at him. Raya makes an unbelievable save. I'm like, whew, dodged bullet there. And then Trossard. Oh, my God. Trossard with the goal of his life yesterday. Unbelievable finish. Again, this is another guy that just shows up in big moments, time and time again. I remember his goal against Porto in the round of 16, the Champions League, our first time back in there. And what a big goal that was. But he scores big-time goals for us, and he scored it yesterday, which, by the way, Martin Odegaard, I know he's, not really been in the squad this year. He's our former captain. I don't know if they've given it to Saka and Declan Rice. But what a performance from Martin Odegaard yesterday. What a performance. The through balls he was sending in eventually to create the game-winning goal for Leandro Trossard. I mean, the guy was unreal yesterday. He was unplayable yesterday, and I'm curious what that looks like. And then, obviously, we get to the moment. Which before that, I don't think people realized what happened. Right before that corner was being taken, you have a shot literally right in front of the net, and Gabriel just puts his body in and blocks it. Literally, I forget who shot it. Maybe it was Callum Wilson. And he shot it, and I go, all you got to do is put it on just anywhere but where Gabriel is. But Gabriel blocks it, comes up big. Then the corner, and my heart sank yet again. Because we give up a late goal. Because I don't think people realize if we were to draw that game, then it all comes back down to goal difference. It comes back to goal difference with Man City, and them winning 3-0 on Saturday. That's big. That's very big. Because then I think we're up by 2 goals on goal difference. So goal difference really doesn't matter if we win out. But what if we win out, huh? Who's gonna remember that? Shout out Kate McInerney. Anyway. I don't think people realize that call is worth millions. That goal, that call that they made is worth at least over £100 million. I don't think people realize that. And that's why you have to get that call correct. Because if that goal goes in, West Ham is now level on points with Tottenham to get out of the last relegation zone and be safe for the Premier League season next year, which did the math yesterday. You make over £150 million for just participating in the Premier League. You make £13 million for participating in the EFL Championship every single year. That goal is worth millions, over 120 some odd million. To win, then if the call goes that way, then Arsenal would now be level on points if Man City were to win their game in hand. That's worth 50 million right then and there. The placement in the Premier League, that's worth like 50 million. So that call right there is worth about 150 million, maybe 120 some odd million, in the range of 120 to probably 200 million. That goal. I don't think people realize how big and how massive of a goal that truly is, and how you have to get that call right. Was the call right? Yeah. The only people that seem to disagree on the call is the people who are fans of Manchester United, Chelsea, Tottenham, and Manchester City, and anyone else who doesn't want to see Arsenal win the Premier League. That's the people who disagree with it. All the pundits, all the talking heads agree that the call was correct, unless there's somehow a hater. I'm sure ESPN FC was already hating on it, whatever it was. But that was the correct call. When you put the arm across David Raya that way and you drag him down a little bit, which he even gets his hands up on the ball. Like, he gets both hands up on it. If he doesn't get dragged, he catches it cleanly. But he doesn't. He gets dragged, it hits his fingertips, and then it gets cleared away, and then I forget who hit it, and it goes in the back of the net. And during that entire review, I don't know how I survived. I thought I was just going to have a heart attack. My heart was just going to jump out of my chest and just be all over the place, and I wouldn't have even seen what happened. But that is an unbelievable finish, a stressful finish. And I think if Arsenal were to go back and they win the Premier League title, I think you look at those last 15 minutes of the game against West Ham, and that is the deciding factor, because there quite easily could have been 2 goals scored by West Ham in those final 15 minutes. However, it didn't happen. They come away with a 1-0 victory. And I'm a happy camper on Mother's Day, the rest of the day. So shout out my Gunners, man. We're just 2 games away. 2 games away from winning the league. That's all you got to do, guys. Win out. And I'll get to the run-in a little bit after, but I want to hear Nate's thoughts. He's probably just going to say that was the wrong call because he'd just be hating on everything I'd be saying. So we'll see.
Soft, man. Charmin Ultra soft. That's what I'll say.
I got another thing to say about that, too.
Weak-ass goalkeepers selling the contact. Come on, man. No, I mean, listen.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander out there.
I will say, I think a lot of pundits have talked about how protecting goalkeepers has been kind of an emphasis in the league, especially when it comes to a lot of these calls and a lot of these decisions. And so as much as I do think there is a gray area when we look at this particular play, which I mean, I don't think it's I do think that in terms of protecting goalkeepers, and also it was pretty clear that his progress was inhibited. He couldn't make a play. He couldn't adjust. All of those things add up to tell me that, no, I think you're fair in saying that, yeah, it was the right call. And again, to your point, you know, as much as people don't like Arsenal, and as much as people, I think, kind of bemoan Arsenal because of obviously the star power, and that every celebrity known to man loves Arsenal for whatever reason. By the way, who was the recent celebrity that I just learned was a big-time Arsenal fan? Anne Hathaway. There we go. You saw the same video I saw. But anyways, not that has anything to do with this, but there have been many that have come out and actually confirmed, you know, in many former referees, several former referees that have already weighed in on this and said, no, it was the right call. Now, again, if you want to talk about, you know, it was minimal contact, this, that, or the other, it feels like the same conversation we had about the handball the other day. Like, it's so 50-50 that it really does come down to a judgment decision. But if the goal is to protect goalkeepers, if the goal is to, again, in those crowded areas, give the benefit of the doubt to the goalkeeper, then yeah, I can understand why they went the way that they did with the decision. But to your point, the gravity of this decision and exactly how far this goes, that's the part about this that, you know, I think maybe turns some people away and makes them think twice about it. But makes a difference, man. So I don't know. Was it as malicious as I think people make it out to be? No, but I think it was enough, especially again, and they tell you these things. Like, these are things that are communicated with these clubs before the season begins. I mean, I imagine they have these meetings and this is communicated like, hey, we're going to protect goalkeepers more in these specific situations, which again, that call in that moment fit the criteria for exactly what they've been talking about. So they did the right thing based off of what they've been emphasizing. They did the right thing.
And I already know what everyone's going to say. Well, look at the corners. Look at how Arsenal scored corners. Well, if you go throughout history, the last couple of years, you see Arsenal goalkeepers get dragged or blocked off all the time, and they never, disallow the goal. So, and it's funny that, the whole corner kick situation, obviously that was a corner there, which ultimately could have been the most ironic thing in the world because we may have lost the league off a corner after scoring so many goals from corners. I just find that a little ironic. That's just me, though.
Yeah.
But looking at, the history of Arsenal since I've watched, we've always been considered a soft team. We've always never had, that grit. We've never had that toughness about us. And I would see it all the time. We'd lose 5-0 to Chelsea, 5-0 to Liverpool, 5-0 to City, United, whatever it is. I've seen it time and time again. But then all of a sudden, Arsenal becomes tough, and that's all of a sudden an issue. Well, all day on Twitter yesterday, it's screenshots of Arsenal scored off this, Arsenal scored off this position, Arsenal scored off this. So you don't want them to be tough. Then you're upset that you're making fun of them that they aren't tough, and then they are tough, and then you don't like it. You've got to have each way here, guys. We've got to have it both ways. We can't just play devil's advocate, all this stuff. You're just basically just hating. And it's funny. I've seen a lot of tweets recently, a lot of videos about someone saying when it comes to Arsenal, everyone just becomes as stupid as they possibly can because it's like the rules don't – it's like the normal rules don't actually apply to Arsenal. It's like, oh, you guys over-celebrated because making the Champions League final, yet I see PSG do the same thing, and it's fine. They're able to do that. Guys, we can't have it both ways here, people. We can't have it both ways. And –
right.
If Arteta did what Pep Guardiola did in his press conference and said, come on, you Irons, and did the symbol, Arteta would have been memed about that. But Pep Guardiola does it. It's okay. Now I look at the final 2 games of the season. That was of our final 3 remaining Premier League games, that was the hardest game on our schedule, the remaining way. On paper, at least. On paper, that is our hardest game, and in theory, it's our hardest game. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Burnley already knows their fate. They're already relegated. They're down. West Ham, they're the ones that are only fighting. Then I go to the final game of the season against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace has got an incentive in order for Arsenal to win the league. They get £10 million if Arsenal win the league because Eberechi Eze, and then part of their whole clause, whatever. So Crystal Palace gets £10 million if Arsenal win the league, and they are in a Conference League final, so they'll be resting their players for that because in 2-3 days' time, they're playing in a European final. And obviously, Crystal Palace doesn't have a trophy, I don't think, a European trophy that I know of. So they're going to be competing for all that. I look at Manchester City. They have Aston Villa, who is not necessarily, when they play them, won't necessarily be in the Champions League place yet. They do have a Europa League final, but they're not confirmed yet. They do play Crystal Palace. That's in a midweek game. They got Chelsea in the FA Cup, which doesn't make sense to me when the FA Cup final's being played. But there's a little bit tougher fixtures, I think, for Manchester City than Arsenal. On paper, it looks like we could win the league. However, crazier things have happened. So I'm not guaranteeing anything about us winning the league because it's soccer. Yeah. Anything can happen in 90 minutes. But I'm just saying, on paper, it looks like we can win it, and we took care of business yesterday. I don't care how it happened. I don't care how it looked. Everyone is complaining about the way we played. Look, we played well yesterday. But just saying, on paper, it looks good. And I'm getting excited. And I don't want to get excited, but I'm getting excited.
Let's take a break. When we come back, let's mention the injuries when it comes to the U.S. men's national team. They're starting to pile up a little bit. Obviously, we briefly mentioned Christian Pulisic's injury coming into the show. We will talk about that coming up. Also, Mbappe is just kind of on his own timeline, apparently, showing back up to training after missing the biggest game of the season. It feels Aaron Rodgers coded a little bit. Let's talk about that coming up next here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching. watching today.
Back in live here on Inside the Game, National Soccer Network, Monday edition here of the show. Appreciate y'all dropping in as always. Again, drop a comment if you're in National Soccer Network as well as Sports Nation on social media. Ryan, we are uncomfortably close to the World Cup now. I mean, we are on the doorstep, the precipice, if you will, of the World Cup starting here in the United States. First time in 3 decades it has been. We've seen the hype video you posted about Shakira, and apparently the entire planet has jumped in on that conversation.
And they've also jumped on the Jelly Roll hate train.
Swooped in to save the day and pile on. You know what's funny? We have a brand new amphitheater here in Grand Rapids. Apparently Jelly Roll is coming in a couple of weeks. So if you want to come, Ryan, we can go together to this show if you want.
I'm all right.
It'd be a great time.
I'll pass.
All right. Okay. I'm just saying. But let's get into some of these injuries here for the U.S. men's national team. Christian Pulisic is hurt. That was announced yesterday. Also Johnny Cardoso. But you're right, Ryan. It seems like they are stacking up a little bit.
Yeah,
so we got Cardoso with that. Yeah.
High ankle sprain, expected to miss the World Cup. Tanner Tessman, he's got a muscle strain, should make the World Cup. Christian Pulisic, a glute issue. He will be evaluated later on today. And then Patrick Agyemang, an Achilles, he will miss the World Cup. Obviously, there's like a third-string goalkeeper that broke his neck or something, so he's obviously going to be out of the World Cup. But yeah, no, that is just that's the question. Is the U.S. men's national team cooked right now? Obviously, if we were to lose anyone, that would be a massive issue. That'd be Christian Pulisic. I look at Agyemang. I don't think he's that important to us, to be completely honest with you. And I look at Tessman and Cardoso. Maybe Tanner Tessman would be a little bit more of a blow because Cardoso doesn't really do a lot with the men's national team. I think he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I think he does really good things with Atleti, but I just don't think. I think Tessman's miss would be a little bit bigger, a little bit greater for me personally.
Yeah.
Just looking at what Tessman and Cardoso look player to player, what they've done for the men's national team. Did I see the Adidas commercial? 100% Fabian. It's a great commercial, by the way. The Adidas commercial. Maybe I'll post something a little bit about it later on today. But no, that is a phenomenal commercial. If you have yet to see it after our show today, go watch the Adidas commercial. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, the question of, are we cooked? I mean, I think we've already been kind of contemplating that question for a while now. And I think it goes back to watching the way we played against Belgium and watching the way we played against Portugal. I think, getting out of the group is a perfectly realistic expectation for U.S. men's national team fans, as it should be. But anything else beyond that is kind of a crapshoot when it comes to this team because we haven't seen the best version of them. I don't, frankly, I don't think we've seen it since Poach has been here. Now, does it change everything? Obviously, if you don't have Pulisic on the field, it's going to hurt. Regardless of what that looks like, it's gonna hurt. It's not gonna feel good. We saw what it looked like over the summer when it came to the Gold Cup of what it looks like without him on the pitch. And frankly, we didn't really get that good of an understanding because of the teams that we were playing at, the clubs we were playing against. Well, not clubs, sorry, nations, but that we were playing against. But we got to Mexico, and I mean, they ran us off the field, man, wire to wire. I mean, I know Richards got that early goal, but without Pulisic on the pitch and without a lot of those guys on the pitch, we looked lost. Does it completely change everything, though? I think if this was Mbappe got hurt for France, this is a much bigger story. Any of these other top players, so like, who are we? Who's the English kid that just got hurt? I'm blanking on his name.
English guy who got hurt.
Who was the 19-year-old phenom that just got hurt on the PK?
What? Lamine Yamal?
Lamine Yamal. There we go.
He's Spanish.
Goodness gracious. Spanish, not English. My bad. But like Lamine Yamal getting hurt. Like in that situation, I think that's a much bigger storyline. Not to take anything away from Christian Pulisic, but he's been on a drought lately. A
17 goals or 17 games without a goal.
And we have heard from the people in Serie A and obviously at AC Milan that he is extremely, extremely sensitive about that. That he is going through this, not only a drought on the pitch, but I'm sure that is obviously probably leading to some mental struggles for Christian Pulisic as well. But all of this can really be summarized in when you're dealing with nagging injury issues. And for Pulisic, it has been different things pretty much every time. We've talked about the knee. Now we're talking about the ankle. Now we're talking about the glute. It is something different with him all of the time. And to be frank with you, I don't know if it's him just like, selling it or being emotional or being soft. I'm not going to say it's any of those things. I just think his body isn't really abiding by what he needs it to right now. And I think that is contributing to the lack of goals, which is contributing to the mental health side of things, which is, for me, it's not nearly as much the little nagging injuries. They matter. And they're certainly going to affect him going into the World Cup. The bigger issue is that all of that is affecting his mental. And if Pulisic isn't himself mentally on the pitch with this U.S. men's national team, that becomes a problem. Because as talented as he is, he can just as easily become a distraction for this club or for this team if he's out there playing, because of the snowball effect of all this happening. Now, I know that people, to your point about Cardoso, yes, I mean, you have a good point. I think everyone kind of freaked out after they saw that one highlight of, nutmegging the one guy, and, everyone was like, whoa, like this guy deserves more time, which I do think he does. I think, again, Roldan and Tim Ream, it's just like, how do we get rid of those two? I think Tanner Tessman is obviously a big loss, but when it comes to Christian Pulisic, you asked the question. I mean, you brought up the topic months ago. You go, are we going to get a healthy Christian Pulisic for the 2026 World Cup? And I can tell you probably right now, emphatically, no. So how does he fight through that? That's the most troubling part to me. Does he have the guile, the guts to fight through the to fight through the nagging injuries in order to perform for country? Or is this something, is his drought in Serie A right now going to carry over with him to the World Cup? Because we've seen the interviews, we've seen the docuseries, I haven't gotten the chance to watch it yet. However, we've seen everything that he said about all the pride in playing for the crest and everything like that. And I agree. And it's going to take him playing at not 100%, but can he push through that to be what we need him to be, to have a level of success in this tournament and advance beyond the round of 32? It's kind of a bold take. I hate to say that it's bold, but it does certainly feel bold. Can he do that? I don't know. Yet to be seen.
Just a couple things. This was a precautionary thing from the club. Pulisic didn't take himself out. He picked it up on Friday in his last training session, but the club took him out as a precautionary measure, and then they lost 3-0 to Atalanta. Everyone was leaving the stadium early. I thought it was kind of funny, to be completely honest with you. But Pulisic, I'm hoping that he can be out there fully healthy. I don't necessarily think that he will be out there fully healthy. I think that there is going to be some sort of knock. I also feel like every single player in the World Cup is most likely going to have an injury of some sort. That's what happens when you play 9 months out of the year. Then you add on another month and a half long tournament, depending on how far you actually get. So I do think that he will be. I think every player will be injured for the most part. Okay, we are back now fully. But anyway, back to the U.S. men's national team with Christian Pulisic. Sorry about that, everyone. I know we lost internet for a couple seconds there. Apologies here on our end. But anyway, back to the Christian Pulisic conversation. This is supposed to be the tournament for the U.S. men's national team, USA Soccer, to really kind of take that next step in terms of growing the game here in our nation, growing the game, trying to, give all of our players, all of our USA players, a step up in terms of the pedestaling and try to make the world respect our game or respect American soccer players. And when you have your best player that is, might not be playing all the time, might be injured, everyone's kind of questioning your toughness. I mean, that's not really a great look. But I think Pulisic, I think he's in an interesting time in his career. We saw what happened last summer with him, opting out. Again, I think he was having an injury back then. He had such a great start to the Serie A season, and he hasn't scored since December 28th. A 17 game, which is a career high for the kid, I found out today. 17 games without a goal. That's a career high, I guess, in all competitions for him. And then we have the whole contract situation. Maybe he goes somewhere else. I still don't think he's a player that should go to Manchester United, especially a player that isn't in the best mindset personally. I think that is a club that will eat you alive. And it's like, dude, you're going to the two worst clubs in EPL that you could possibly go to, Chelsea and Manchester United in your career. Come on now. But I just think when it comes to Pulisic, I would say we are cooked if Pulisic is not playing. And you mentioned about what we saw in Portugal in the Belgium games. I don't even think we played our best. I don't think we were put up in a position to succeed regardless against those two sides. We know what our best formation is. That's 3 at the back, 2 wing backs, a couple guys in the midfield, and 3 up top. That's our best formation. 3-5-2, 5-3-2, whatever you want to call it. That's up for you guys to decide. But it's mainly a 3-5. I don't know the exact formation. Anyway, but that is our best formation. We did not play that way. And when we are put up against when we have a 4-back and we put our outside backs in isolated situations, like against a Jeremy Doku, we are going to get cooked. Pulisic being out there, if we set up that way with 4 at the back with Christian Pulisic without Christian Pulisic out there, oh yeah, then we are cooked. We might as well just wrap this thing up and go home. But if we were able to have 3 at the back and set up that way without Christian Pulisic, I would not say we are cooked. Obviously, I want Pulisic out on the field. I think he's our best player. We need him out there. But I wouldn't say we are cooked if we are set up properly. If we are set up poorly without Pulisic, yeah, it's just fries in the bag. Just fries in the bag.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree, and I mean that's the hope, is that Mauricio Pochettino knows what this looks like. I just say, like, it's not, you want these guys to be hitting their stride before this happens. Now, again, from the usage rate conversation and how many matches they've had to play, it does in a lot of ways. I mean, it kind of feels as if it's, like, again, to make an American comparison, like the NFL playoffs, when you get to the semis and into the Super Bowl, like, everybody is hurt. Like, anybody that is on the field is hurt with something, some sort of nagging injury. And so you're going to have that in the World Cup. And so, again, yeah, the hope is that, again, he can just push through it. But it's a troubling sign nonetheless, certainly when it comes to the U.S. men's national team. You want to take a break before we talk about Mbappe, or you want to get right into it?
Yeah, let's take a break.
All right, let's take a break. Barca Academy, proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network and the official academy of FC Barcelona in the United States. Designed for boys and girls ages 6 to 18, Barca Academy camps follow and replicate the FC Barcelona game model. Same philosophy used by Barca's professional coaching staff. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code FCB30. Again, that's FCB30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you at fcbarcelona.us/camps.
In Barca camp, I see my son grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca Camp.
Inside the Game continues along here as we get close to hour number 2. It's actually technically 9:57, so still in hour number 1. We got 3 minutes, so go ahead, Ryan. Talk as fast as you humanly can about Mbappe. No, I'm kidding. It's not going to be a clean cut right down the middle.
Session.
No, I'm good. I just I think it's interesting to talk about. But Mbappe apparently showing back up to training after missing the biggest game of the season. I don't know, Ryan. It strikes me as odd, but what's the lay out the story for us here? Because again, I think this is kind of like Aaron Rodgers coded. This is what we've seen a lot out of A-Rod or A-Raj, that is. But what's the story here? And I guess what was the reaction to it?
You almost confused me there for a second. I was like, A-Rod? Alex Rodriguez? I know he was away from the team for a while there with steroid use. But yeah, no, it's just a little weird to me that, you know, you have supposedly a hamstring issue. You're going to miss El Clasico, the biggest game of the season, because if you don't win it, Barcelona will win the league for a second straight year. That's 100% exactly what happened. Barcelona go on to win yesterday 2-0, which there was, Real Madrid showed some what they were doing out on the training ground, out onto the field yesterday. There were a couple fights out there. But when it comes to this Mbappe situation, I think this whole Real Madrid situation, it's very interesting to me. It just feels like they're just in it for the money at this point. It doesn't feel like they truly care about playing for Real Madrid. It doesn't feel like they really want to be out there. And when your star player, arguably your best player, I would argue he is your best player, that he all of a sudden has a hamstring injury against your arch rival, Barcelona. We all know what El Clasico brings. And then with not even 24 hours after the game, he shows up in training and he's like almost a full participant in everything. Like, that's just a little strange to me, because it's like, if you're hurt, it's like the Ted Lasso thing with Jamie Tart. Are you hurt or are you injured? And it feels like that Mbappe was just hurt and he just didn't want to be with the team. We've talked about Pulisic, not carrying a ton. Mbappe, maybe he doesn't have the same heart that a lot of people think that he has. And remember, Pulisic had the whole growing injury after he scored against Iran, and people were questionable if he was going to play against the Netherlands. He did play. If he takes that chance in the first 5 minutes, we probably might win the game. Thanks, Christian, for missing that chance, buddy. Anyway, that's just, there's a couple issues. There's just a couple situations that I've seen it with U.S. men's national team. Chris Wondolowski, Christian Pulisic. Oh my God. Anyway, Dave, have you seen the petition to remove him from the team? Yeah, 40 million signatures of Real Madrid fans want Kylian Mbappe off the team. I think that's maybe also a factor.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if 40 million people signed a petition to get you fired? I mean, like, I've known, like, I'm sure there's probably a couple of people, here and there that are like, we got to get rid of this guy. But 40 million? Like, I don't know. Here's the other thing, Ryan. If that many people want me off the team to begin with, what you want me to put in extra effort?
Oh, it's now 72 million.
72 million. Okay,
yeah, I really paid up. I thought 40 million was enough. So
yeah, add an extra 32 million on top of that. I'm sorry, you want me to what? You want me to put my best foot forward? You want me to continue to put my body on the line? By the way, on the doorstep of the World Cup. Like, I know how much money he's making. I get it. Like, if you are getting paid even $1 million, you really should be showing up to work with a smile on your face and be so eternally thankful that you have the opportunity to play a sport for a living. Like, this is something that I wish I could just drill into the heads of, like, professional athletes. Like, I don't think you realize the things that people would do just for an extra $1,000 in the bank account, like, let alone like millions of dollars to play a sport. I'm not saying it's not Bush League or it's not wrong, but if I'm trying to go inside the mind of Kylian Mbappe right now, I got 72 million people that are telling me, hey, we don't want you on the team. We don't want you here anymore. And so in my mind, okay, what you want me to put in extra effort? You want me to perform at my highest level? No, screw you guys. Screw you. You think I'm to blame for everything else that's going on. Now, mind you, I did say that there is a lot that can be put on his shoulders because of his position and his resume. Like, we can't completely take any responsibility away from Kylian Mbappe. But I'm just saying, if he's acting this way, it's probably because he doesn't feel like he wants to be there in the first place anyways. He knows 72 million people have come together. But we can't get 10 people together to do anything. But yet we got 72 million people that want this guy out. I've never seen anything like this. Maybe this is just uniquely soccer or football, and it's not something that happened. But I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there were people signing petitions to get the Lions franchise sold once upon a time when they were terrible.
Probably.
But I mean, with the exception of that, like I've never personally seen this, but this is wild to me.
I mean, he's not going to want to get up and leave. I mean, there's no other club in the world that's going to give him 600,000 euros a week. That's not going to. He's not going to get that unless he goes to Saudi. And obviously, Mbappe is still in the prime of his career, so he's going to still want to be able to compete in Champions League, and he wants to play at the best of the best. And he's not going to be in a better spot than Los Blancos in terms of money and getting all the things that I just laid out for you guys. He's not going to get anywhere better unless he were to take a massive pay cut to go somewhere else. I just think when it comes to the club game, I just don't think Mbappe's that great of a teammate. You hear the same things that happened at PSG. Monaco was a different story, but again, he was a young kid. I think he was like 16 or 17, and that team was really good. Bernardo Silva, Fabinho, all those players that were on that team. Bakayoko. Man, I could go on and on about that team. Some of them really flopped hard after Monaco, but like I just think Mbappe's a bad teammate. I don't think a ton of people really like him, and when you don't have a manager that is going to control the dressing room like Arbeloa hasn't been doing and Xabi Alonso hasn't been doing, these things are going to happen when it comes to Real Madrid. Like if they were to bring in Jose Mourinho right now, I think everything would get sorted out.
Yeah, that's fair. Do they call it a dressing room?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
They don't call it a clubhouse.
I didn't know. Well, yeah, that's more baseball. My bad. But anyways, okay. I learned something today. Thank you.
Yeah, they call it the dressing room.
Okay.
But no, that's like if you were to bring in Jose Mourinho, that's what I was saying last week. If you bring in Jose Mourinho, all these things change, and all these things because you would get rid of the players and all the toxicity of being there. I am not saying Federico Valverde would have absolutely changed the game for Real Madrid or he would have won them the game. However, he is arguably your best midfielder, and him not being out there because he got into a fight with Tchouaméni and had brain trauma or something because that was an in-house reason why he's not playing, that's on you guys. I'm not saying Valverde would have won them the game or won them the league, but it kind of helps a little bit when your best midfielder is out there playing for you. I'm just saying I think that is something that could have completely helped you guys. But it just feels like within this club, everything is so toxic and there is not a true adult in the room. And when you have superstars who just want their money, and Mbappe clearly is going to get it in a club that clearly has the money to pay everyone, stuff like this is going to happen. But it just feels like this is just a massive mess. And this has got to be, at least in my lifetime, the biggest summer transfer window I have ever seen with Real Madrid. I've ever seen.
Has to be.
Because they always seem to have the best players. They always seem to go out and spend $300 billion. Then they sell another $300 billion, so it all offsets. But it's just like this is a massive summer because you got to get your head of recruitment right. You've got to get your manager right. You've got to get all the outs, like all the higher ups influencing everything out of there. And you've also got to get rid of some really big names in the world game. So, I mean, I don't even know who you keep at this point or who you sell. Yeah. So that's when it comes to Real Madrid. This is a massive situation. But no, Mbappe, he's just out there doing his own thing, which also shout out Hansi Flick for winning the league for a second straight year after hours before finding out your dad passes away. That's
wow.
I don't know how he could do that, man. Like just hours beforehand, and he finds out, and he's got to go out there and deliver, and manage, in the biggest rivalry in the world to potentially win the league for a second straight year. That's just incredible, man. Yeah. Tough too.
Yeah, that's I imagine Dad had some sort of influence in that game. Yeah, I believe in spirits. I do. I think that's a real thing. I think.
What was it?
I believe in energies.
In the 90s? Or no? Yeah, in the 90s finals against the Trailblazers, where Isaiah Thomas was like, dude, he's hitting shots I've never seen before, and it was just because Isaiah Thomas thought it was because his dad passed away like the day before, like that morning of. So. Yeah, no, I don't ever want to deal with that. Before, something big that happens in my life, whether that's a broadcasting a game or anything like that. But yeah, no, that's unreal, man. I don't know how some people can do that. I don't know how.
Yeah.
how that's possible.
Yeah. Reminds me a lot of just to sidetrack here a quick second. It reminds me a lot of the Jose Fernandez story in Miami. I mean, that guy was regarded as a king in Miami. He was one for the community, and then obviously he dies in the speedboating accident, and then D. Gordon hits a home run, the first of his career, the first pitch of the game following. Which
I did watch something. I don't know who was the fat pitcher on the Mets.
Was it Bartolo?
I think
was
so.
Bartolo Colon on the team?
Yeah, Bartolo Colon. If you go and watch that pitch, Colon knew what he was doing. On that D. Gordon home run, Colon knew what he was doing because he throws the pitch and he puts it right in the spot where D. Gordon could hit it. And you know when pitchers give up home runs, they'll like look around like they'll be like pissed off or something. But Colon throws it and then just literally just asks for the next pitch from his catcher. He just goes and like doesn't like there's no emotion like at all. Like most pitchers would probably get upset about giving up a first pitch home run, but Colon is like, so people think that it was just Colon knew exactly what he was doing. I don't want to like bust anyone's, I don't want to, make them feel horrible about the situation now, but Colon.
No, I mean, yeah. No, I can completely see that. I'm just going to try to connect a dot here really quick if I can. Okay, yeah. I mean, because Jose Fernandez was from Cuba. Thing is about Miami, like Miami is like Cuba on American soil. It's cool, man. I mean, the eats, the scenery, all of it. But no, I could absolutely see that, and I think I think a lot of Hispanic players have such great mutual respect for other Hispanic players playing in the United States. Like we've talked about, like the level of sacrifice and everything that goes into it for those guys versus, some of the American dudes who, dad owns a company. If I don't end up playing baseball, I'll be all right. These guys are coming from Venezuela, Colombia. I mean, these places that are just not great. And so I think there is a tremendous amount of mutual respect. And, it changed everything about Miami when that happened. So anyway,
but no, I think that's a really cool moment. That's just that whole thing that happened. And then like all the emotion, I thought that was a really cool situation.
Yeah. So anyways, getting back on track here with Real Madrid. Yeah, man. I mean, I think there is no one person you can blame in all of this.
No,
but
it's
I
a
think
whole
this
thing.
this is a classic example of if you are the best player or if you are the manager or the head coach, you are going to wear the brunt of the blame for things like this happening, again, because of how much the club has sacrificed, financially speaking, to have you there. Like that's the part about it, right? And so for right or for wrong, people wanting Mbappe out and maybe focusing a lot of their frustrations on Kylian Mbappe, for right or for wrong, it's just another classic example of that. But
yeah, and it's crazy to think that if you were to take this roster that just like won the Champions League literally 2 years ago, and like they got rid of players like Toni Kroos and Luka Modric. You also had Nacho, who's a big, again, not an amazing player, but he's a great locker room guy, just like Lucas Vazquez, who got sold this past summer. Like there are lots of players that are on this team a couple years ago that were great locker room players, great leaders. And then you get rid of all of them and you have a whole bunch of players that are just kind of all over the place in terms of everything. And it shows that this team is not where it should be anymore. And to see that your arch rival Barcelona has won the league the last 2 years in the final games of the season against you as well, because last year, for whatever reason, Travis Scott was at the game. I don't know why he was at the game, but I thought that was kind of funny. A little side note there. But Barcelona won the league both times against you, Real Madrid. So that's got to sting a little bit, and especially with that rivalry going on, that is something that is going to eat away at this club. And I still think the best solution is going back to Jose Mourinho. Sometimes you got to go back to go forward. And I think Jose Mourinho, I know he hasn't managed that club in probably close to 15 years. I think you need to get him back in there and really get this club stability, because you can't go back to Zinedine Zidane. You can't go back to Ancelotti, because Ancelotti's loving life just being the Brazilian men's national team manager. I think everyone has seen the photos and the videos of Ancelotti. You can't go back to Zidane because he's going to be the French manager, and I think he only wants to manage France at this point in his career. I think you got to go back to Jose, stabilize everything, get a little bit of a douchebag in the room, and get all these players in check. And if you don't want to be there, tough out of luck, man. You got to, tough out of luck.
Yep, that's fair. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will continue the conversation. Let's get into our all sports content here today. Going to talk a little bit about maybe the reffing problem in the NBA and some of the other things going on around the association. But first, let's tell you a little bit about Man City Soccer Camps, proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, bringing world-class training inspired by Man City's global football philosophy to players across the United States. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, these camps focus on technical development, decision-making, playing the game the City way. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code MCNSN30 or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you, usacamps.mancity.com. Inside the Game continues along here on the National Soccer Network, episode 285, as we get into our all sports content here today on the show. By the way, I like the sweatshirt. Is that a new fit, or is that
No, I've worn that one for a while times. It's the Detroit Bad Boys.
Oh, it's the Bad Boys. What? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I see it. I see it now. All right. Let's get into the next part of our conversation. Lakers on the brink of being swept in the playoffs by the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think this is the most unlikable series that there could potentially be, right? Because on one hand, I don't ever find myself siding with any LA franchise whatsoever. That is not something that I normally do. But on the other end, I can't stand to watch Oklahoma City play. And I'm old enough, Ryan, to remember fondly the days of Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant and James Harden.
Wait, how can you not side with an LA franchise? It's got LeBron.
LeBron? No, what? Just because I think he's better than Jordan doesn't mean I'm going to side with an LA team. I mean, come on, man. I mean, no, I'm
just waiting for the day that you root for the Lakers with LeBron against the Pistons and Indiana football to beat Michigan football. I'm just waiting for those days. No, it's fine. No. I like them.
Hey, I cheer for storylines, man, more than anything. I cheer for content, and that is, I love it when they give us content. And I feel like this playoffs has given us more than enough content to talk about. Obviously, we talk about the Pistons in length, but we are a national affiliate. We are a national network, and so I do think it is worth conversating on. But yeah, it seems like the Lakers might be on their way out. But Ryan, when brand accounts like Shoe Locker are coming out and talking about how bad it's gotten when it comes to the referee, I think it's time that we have a talk. And people will mention, and they did in the video that you said yesterday about the fact that you don't respect Oklahoma City, said that the Lakers had more free throws in game 3 than OKC did. And to that point, they are correct. They're not wrong. But it's much less about the number of free throws in my mind, Ryan, than it has everything to do with just how the game is played now. Foul baiting, complaining,
James Harden.
Stop and start. You know, I never want James Harden laying on the gym floor watching his, clutch 3 go in. I think
Mahorn was pissed about that.
I think baseball is officially a better, in terms of pace of play, has a better pace of play than basketball does. And I'm not even kidding when it comes to all the foul baiting and the complaining and the going up to referees. It is much less about the number of fouls. This is not just an SGA or an OKC problem. The playoffs used to symbolize one thing in NBA basketball, and that was the refs swallow their whistle. They're not quick to whistle. They will let extra contact go. I go back to that again. I always hark back to the 2016 NBA Finals. It's the best one I've ever seen with the Cavs and the Warriors. That was the most knockdown physical basketball I've ever seen in my life. And they swallowed their whistles. But it's also wild to think that was a decade ago now. I mean, that's a long time ago. So it is the way the game is played because, and I heard this said on Colin Cowherd's show the other day, it is an art form. It is an art form to be able to draw contact. I see it in college. I see it in high school, right? You get the guy off his feet. You go up to shoot. You get the foul. LeBron James gets a bump on his way driving by someone, throws it up from wherever, and it goes in. You get a foul. You get a free throw, right? Drawing fouls is an important thing. But when that is the focus, especially in close games, especially in tight games, we have completely lost the plot. And what's unfortunate from Oklahoma City's side is, Ryan, I respect so much about that organization and what they did to get to where they are now. I mean, they practically tanked for like a decade. Like, I don't think they put a stomachable product out on the floor for like almost 10 years. But they get pick after pick after pick, and they've been able to string together. Well, I mean, yeah,
the Thunder were good for a little bit. They just traded away every single person. They traded away Carmelo. Right. They traded away PG. I mean, they sucked for like 4 or 5 years there, but they were competitive up until like I think 2016, 2017.
Yeah, but I mean,
and then Russell Westbrook. Then you had Chris Paul in there. Like they were just kind of smart.
But then again, like that was a decade ago. You know what I mean? Like I have never seen an organization so voluntarily go so deep into the gutter in any of the American professional sports as much as
they made the playoffs in 2020.
No, in the bubble. I mean, anyways. But
so then we're gonna mark down LeBron's title then in the bubble. Just saying.
But they did what needed to be done to put together the best roster construction I've seen in the NBA, and that's the unfortunate thing. Is if OKC is able to go back
absolutely horrible for 2 years. They were absolutely dog poop for 2 years. They had over 45 wins from 2009 to 2019. They had over 45 wins.
Yeah. No, they had good years. I'm not saying they didn't have good years. But I will always respect the way that they did it as an organization. But it's going to take away from something if they end up winning and they end up going back to back. So I just think, and it's one thing, you're always going to have people complaining about the referees. This is never going to change. That is always going to be the case. Teams are going to blame the refs for not winning games. But at a certain point, when everybody is echoing the same sentiment, at what point as the NBA do you get together in the offseason and you look at, these players and these teams, these organizations, and you go, hey, you know what? If we're trying to sell fouls as hard as we are, and a referee notices that, fines and potentially some other repercussions. Like now this puts more power in the hands of referees, so I don't know if people necessarily love that idea, but this is something that it's funny because even coming into this season, and I forget who Colin had on yesterday. God, I'm blanking on her name. Redhead talks NBA basketball all the time.
Rachel Nichols?
Rachel Nichols. Thank you very much. But Rachel Nichols was talking about how, coming into the year, that was already a focus for NBA refs. Watch the flopping, watch the foul baiting. But do they really have anything tangible that can convince these players not to do that anymore? Is there a punishment outside of just an embellishment call, which, again, we don't see that? Like, you need to have something tangible as a referee and as an organization and as a group, as a collective of these referees in the NBA to make these players completely aware that this is not okay. The way we are playing this game right now is not all right because it completely destroys the product whatsoever. And now it's not even about the game anymore, Ryan. It's about how can I sell this to get to the free throw line. So that I don't know. I think it hasn't completely killed the viewing experience. I've still enjoyed watching this playoffs, but it's getting harder.
To be honest with you, if the Pistons were not good, I wouldn't watch the NBA, period. I really would not watch. Yeah, I'd maybe flip on a game for background noise, sure. If I had a chance to go to an NBA game, I'd go 100%. But watching it on TV is one of the most frustrating things I have ever seen. And I love the game of college basketball. I think they swallow their whistles a little bit more than I think people want to give them credit to. But let's also not forget that Michigan basketball's national championship game was just all free throws. They made 3 jump shots. They all got to the free throw line. Yeah. So I can't really be too much of a hypocrite about it because that's how the Wolverines got a national championship is because they got to the free throw line. But I want to go over a couple of numbers real quick. So the top 5 teams in terms of most free throws attempted this entire regular season of the NBA, the Magic number 1, Lakers 2, Pistons 3, Nuggets 4, Mavericks 5. The Thunder aren't all the way down until number 17, which they attempt 23 free throws a game. The Magic number 1 attempt 27. So it's not really that big of a difference for me personally. But then I searched up even more intriguing stat, and I said, what is the average foul call per minute in the NBA in the regular season this past year? And the stat comes out that there is a foul called just about every single minute of the NBA of an NBA game. So on average, teams are given each team in a 48-minute game is given on average 24 fouls a game, which if you were to add up those two is 48 minutes. There's 48 for 48 minutes. So a foul is called just about every single minute of the game. Nobody wants to watch that. No one wants to see Paolo Banchero yell because he got touched on the elbow and then flail his arms all over the place. No one wants to see that. No one wants to see a 7-footer in Chet Holmgren or Wemby act like they got shot, even though they're 7'3+. Nobody wants to see that. Also, no one wants to see Freight Train LeBron James drive down the lane and act like he got shot. Dude, you're 6'9", like 245. No one in the NBA is really going to outmuscle you for anything. Let's be a little bit better. But when it comes to the Thunder, I said it yesterday. I don't respect the way that they play. They do not play the game of basketball. I know they're not the most, they don't attempt the most free throws in the NBA. I know that, but it's really not that much of a difference. It's only about 4 free throws. It's really not that big of a difference. I don't like the fact that players nowadays in the NBA, it's a lot of one-on-one. It's drive to the basket, bump into somebody while I go up and just throw up a shot. I don't think that's great. Or the one that's most frustrating to me is the kicking out the leg as you shoot a 3 or a jump shot. You kick out your leg like James Harden did. I don't like that. That's not enjoyable to watch. I'd much rather watch college basketball because there's a little bit more of offense oriented. There's a little bit more of a flow offensively. Yeah, I think in certain games there's 100% a lot of foul baiting. I hate the continuation thing. I think it's one of the dumbest rules ever invented in the NBA because how can you get fouled at the 3-point line and then take 4 more steps and then throw it up and they go, and 1. That's not an and 1. That's not an and 1. It's one of the most frustrating things to watch. And it's for me why I think a lot of Americans are kind of getting a little bit away from the NBA. Look, the NBA is the most global league outside of all the soccer leagues in the world. It's the most global league, and the NBA has done a really good job of promoting that game overseas. And I also think some overseas players coming over here has done a really good job of promoting the international game as well. But I just look at it, and I think the international fans are really like it. I think they enjoy watching it. But I think for most Americans who are used to the UFCs, the MMAs, the NFL, the college football, the college sports, where it's a little bit more tougher, they like that a lot more than what we're seeing in the NBA. I think if you were to take their favorite team out of the NBA playoffs and they're really not competing for anything, I don't think that fan watches the NBA much, because I'm that fan. And I know a lot of my friends are that NBA fan, and we don't tune in to the NBA on a nightly basis or a weekly basis. If the Pistons were not good, we've said it time and time again, we would not watch. So the NBA has got to fix it a little bit. They got to.
And I remember hearing Adam Silver talk about how, well, once upon a time it got to a point to where it was too physical. Like I watched those highlights of Jordan going up for a layup and Bill Laimbeer taking a swing on him. You know what I mean? Like,
I'd rather see that though.
Okay, yeah, but that takes no skill. You know what I mean? Like,
fighting through contact? LeBron gets the minimal contact
part. Yes, I'm talking about Bill Laimbeer. Like, that doesn't take any skill to just punch a dude. You know what I mean?
Wemby punched a dude damn near yesterday.
I think about some of the he elbowed him. I think some of the enforcers in the NHL. I think about those guys. Like, really? Like, you think those guys would ever hang in today's game? No. The whole reason why they put him out there was just go beat people up. Like, that doesn't take skill.
A sense of toughness and grit is a part of sports. It's a part of a fear factor.
I understand, but I can see where they talked about how it got too physical, but there has to be.
There's no physicality anymore.
Right.
Why do you think LeBron's got so many points? How many times has he just gone to the free throw line without actually getting touched and just lays it up?
He's played longer than most people have been alive that have played against him. I feel like he's played through generations of this game. So
I think the whole NBA physicality thing is a little ironic coming from you, Nate, because you love LeBron and his points. But a lot of it, I bet you, is from the line.
He doesn't get a whistle. Have you seen a whistle leaning his way in this series against OKC?
It's okay. It's one series. And OKC is going to get the whistle because the Lakers aren't a true, legitimate NBA contender.
He also might have the points because he's played in the league since the dinosaurs were roaming the earth. That also could be a reason why. I mean, I'm just saying.
Not the fact that he just runs down the lane and you can't touch him, or else if you do touch him, it's a foul and it's an and one and he goes to the line. That?
Man, he got ran over the other night. It didn't get a call. Come on, man.
Because his team is not a true NBA contender.
I knew somehow you were going to circle that into a LeBron conversation.
I'm just saying, you can talk about the physicality, yet LeBron started this whole thing. Started this whole softness in the league. You know that, right?
Maybe.
Yeah?
Maybe.
Yeah, he did.
Why? This seems
once
like
he got to the Heat, everything was going his way. You can't touch him. Anytime he drives down the lane, you just graze him on the arm. Anytime you say a bad word to him. Now it's a little bit different because the Lakers and LeBron aren't. LeBron's really not a fear factor in the NBA anymore because there's teams that are way better than the Lakers, and they haven't been anything since the bubble. So,
yeah. Also can't carry at 40-plus years old. I mean, you kind of need a little help.
He's got Luka Doncic on his team. He's got Austin Reeves. How many more All-Stars does this guy need?
Luka's on the bench, man. Luka's not playing. So, that's a massive hit.
There is, Dave, with the removal of enforcers in the NHL has led to more cases of CTE as there is no consequences to hard hits now.
That is true. I'll say that. I mean, I see these massive hits in the National Hockey League in the playoffs, and it's like, where are the teammates? Wait, where is everybody? Why are we not jumping on top of this guy? I will say, I do think that is.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having my back for a change, Dave. I appreciate it.
That's in response, though. Like, that's not like, that's not a goon who goes out there just for the express purpose of hitting somebody. Like this is why I respect like Darren McCarty as much as I do. As much of a nut
you
as
just
that guy
said he
is.
wouldn't be able to play in today's NHL.
Darren McCarty was actually skilled, though. Darren McCarty
but he
could
was
actually
an enforcer.
Ball. Yes, he was both. But like you can be both now. You can't just be one of those guys that, again, you just all you do is just go up there and beat up.
You're making some ironic statements today, Nate, in terms of this. Enforcers won't be a part of the game. But who's there to beat anybody up?
He can do both. He can do look at Tyler Bertuzzi. He can do both. You know what I mean?
Tyler
like,
Bertuzzi's
look at his
a bum.
son. You just don't like him because he ain't played for the Red Wings. I loved him, man. Him and his missing tooth. That was great. He was the face of the Grand Rapids Griffins for like.
Then you don't like softness in the NBA. Yet your guy started this whole trend of softness in the NBA. I'm just saying.
Oh, let's on the other side of this next break.
By the way, LeBron started the softness, and Nate's going, no, he's not.
Whoa!
LeBron's great.
On the other side of the break, let's talk about a player that has never shied away from contact very much. Draymond Green saying some outlandish stuff about Charles Barkley when he was in a Rockets uniform. I know we didn't get to talk about this over the weekend, but let's talk a little bit because Dre, listen, man, I took your side with the Austin Rivers stuff. I said, I think it's ironic that Austin Rivers is living in the past. He's Mr. Never graduated from high school guy, but we're kind of crossing lines when it comes to what he said against Charles Barkley. Also, if you're working in sports media, my man, you got to be willing to laugh at yourself once in a while. Let's talk about that coming up next. You're on Inside the Game.
Oh, dude, I ain't gonna lie. I really thought you were just gonna continue this thing going. Okay.
Oh,
gotcha.
Sorry. All right, we'll be back.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Inside the Game.
Yeah, you really threw a curveball there. I had the commercial pulled up, and then you started going in. I was like, oh, we're just going to continue to keep going here. Then I started looking at the chat, and I was like, then you're like, we'll be right back. I'm like, what the heck?
What's going on? No, my bad. I was trying to tease it a little bit. I always like to tease topics.
Yeah, that was like a minute tease. Could have did it for like 15 seconds.
So funny. Let's get into this this next topic, our second to last topic, potentially here before we get. I know we have a Tigers topic on here. I'm not all that interested in talking. If we don't end up,
guys, the first half of the season don't mean anything with the Tigers. That's all you gotta say.
I mean,
wait till the All-Star break. If we're around 500, good.
I will say the Central is weak. I mean, you do bring up a good point there. Like it really doesn't, but the White Sox have leapfrogged us, I believe.
Yeah, but how long is that really going to keep going?
So, I don't know. I'm just
saying.
I
see it in the Premier League all the time. There's always a team like Aston Villa and Chelsea around Christmas. It's a cute little story. As my old coworker Sean Bleach would say, coochie coo. It's a cute story. And then once the fixtures come thick and fast, they fall off. Do we really think the White Sox are really going to keep it up? No, I don't. No, it's like the same thing with the Twins at the beginning of the season. Oh my God, the Twins!
Anyways, getting into this, Draymond Green on Inside the NBA over the weekend. I'm sure you've probably seen the clip. I mean, unless again you live under a rock or
No, I saw it. Draymond just be running his mouth over stupid stuff all the time.
Yeah,
Draymond insecure about himself. Let's be real.
I said this, yeah, and I agree too. I said this before we went to break. If we want to go toe for toe with like Austin Rivers, I honestly think when it comes to Austin Rivers, for Draymond Green, it would be considered punching down. Like there's no reason to engage in all of that. Austin Rivers was a daddy's boy who made a lot of money in the NBA. Yeah, I mean he played darn near a decade.
Right,
I forget how many years he played in the NBA.
We'll have to wait for Nate to be unfrozen. We can hear him, but Nate is unfrozen. So no, okay,
back and better than ever.
Now he's back. I was really confused about what I had to do there because I could hear you, but I was like, dude, he's not moving. So I'm like, I don't know. Should I just mute the guy or like, what do I do there? But hey, we're good now.
Poof. Anyways, I'm back. But that would be considered in my mind punching down for Draymond Green. Now, when it comes to Charles Barkley, my man, punching above your weight class is never
figuratively and literally
is never really a smart idea. That is, it's okay to not let your pride get the best of you and realize that this is probably not a smart idea. Ego is a thing that's going to end up killing you quicker than anything else. And if your ego drives your decisions in life, if your ego is what you look to make decisions, it ain't going to go well for you. It might go well for a little bit, but it ain't going to go well for long. And for Draymond Green to take it as offensive as Charles Barkley did, because I don't think anybody really analyzed what was said leading up to that comment, which essentially Charles Barkley was saying, like, listen, it's over at Golden State. Steve Kerr is going to leave. Steph Curry can't stay healthy.
He came back.
Yeah, he did come back, but
which means Dusty May's not going anywhere.
But he goes, Steve Kerr, or rather Steph Curry is hurt. He can't stay healthy. He goes, you guys have no more cap space to be able to add more talent to this team. You have two of the guys that are, $70 million in cap space wrapped up are not going to be playing next year. Either that or they're going to come back late, right? Like, this dynasty is over. They had one of the greatest runs in NBA history. They had one of the greatest runs in NBA history. But Charles Barkley was saying, hey, man, like, it's okay to admit that it's over. That it's done. But what do you do now? How do you reinvent your career in order to, make something out of this? And there were a couple of things that led up to it. I love how Kenny always Kenny is always the instigator. Kenny doesn't get enough attention for the role he plays in all of this because he is the instigator. And he realizes he's the instigator. But then Draymond says in response to that, the goal is to not look like you being Charles Barkley, in a Houston Rockets uniform. All right, at the end of Barkley's career, let me put it this way. With the exception of MJ, during the era that Charles Barkley was playing in the league, you could make an argument that Charles Barkley is the best player in the NBA. He has an MVP. Like, he has these things. Also, he averaged over 20 for his career. Charles Barkley is one of the most elite scorers. And by the way, one of the most elite defenders the game's ever seen at 6'4", guarding guys that are 3, 4, 5 inches taller than him. I know that the in thing to do now is to hate on dudes from the 90s and players from the 90s, right? Like, all right, Unc, like, blah, 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 blah. But the reality is that Charles Barkley was elite, and he was on a different level than Draymond Green. And I think for me, this goes a little bit deeper than all that. No one's questioning your championships. No one's questioning the things you've done, Dre, in the NBA. But, my man, if you want to work in, like, TV, and Nick Wright says this, and I believe this to be true, and I think we need to continue to reinforce this, because if we go away from this and everyone starts getting butthurt about everything, it ain't going to be a fun time. You got to be willing to laugh at yourself, my man. Like, you have to be willing to accept that you are not an elite offensive player. I know it probably bothers the hell out of him that the only way people like to measure success in basketball now is by looking at points and championships. That's it. I mean, that's the entire conversation. How many points, how many championships? That's it. That's the entire conversation for most people. So I understand that, Steve Kerr not giving you the ball is a little frustrating. Is a little frustrating to you. But you were surrounded by Steph and KD and Andre Iguodala and all those other role players that the Golden State Warriors had for all of those years. They could just
GOAT.
There you go. Yeah, they could just knock down shots. So for you to go after Charles Barkley that way, number one, doesn't make any sense. But number two, this is going to be really hard to watch on TV consistently if you're going to have these little emotional breakdowns, man. It's okay to accept that it
I'll like it.
Yeah, you might like it. And the reality is that Shaq and Charles go after it. But Shaq has a little bit more to
5.
his resume and who he was.
No, he's got 3. He's got 3.
Than Draymond. I mean, Shaq, because he's a big, Ryan, and I'm being honest with you here, I think because he's a big, he's not regarded as one of the top 3 players of all time.
Shaq?
If Shaq was more of a shooter in a
Sure.
Kobe type or a LeBron type, he would be a top 3 player of all time.
I mean,
I think because there is no more physically dominant player in NBA history than Shaq, period.
I mean, I don't think so. He's the most dominant, like you mentioned. He's the most physically dominating player ever. I mean, I didn't watch him, obviously. When he was playing with the Celtics, like I wasn't watching that. I had better things to do than watch Shaq, an old aging Shaq. But I mean, I think Shaq gets a little bit more love. No, I feel like
he does. No, he does. He does. It's just people you don't hear him. Yes, you don't hear him in those comments. Like if someone said, like, "Give me your top 3," you
Shaq
would have
probably
to
would
really
never be in anyone's top 3. Maybe 0.1% of threes. Okay,
exactly.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So that's what I'm.
Because you got to think, like, if anyone in the GOAT conversation, they're a 3-level scorer. They have to be able to knock down threes. They've got to score mid-range, drive. They got to do all that fun stuff. And Shaq obviously was really good at one simple thing, which is in the post. He has 1 3. He does have 1 3 to his name. But outside of that, I mean, he couldn't knock down free throws either. I think that's a big part of it as well.
Yeah.
Shaq would really not do well in today's NBA. That might be someone that might struggle a little bit with how many fouls are being called.
It's where the term hack-a-Shaq came from, because literally they would have one guy dedicated on the floor to just
it was
Shaq,
like I forgot who the Sixers had when it came to Mitchell Robinson. Like there was games where I just watch him, literally just came in just to foul Mitchell Robinson. That's all he did. And then he'd miss free throws. So it worked out.
So I think Shaq in a Celtics uniform is probably the more accurate representation of what Draymond doesn't want to be. But this whole thing with Charles, listen, man, either be like, have a good sense of humor about it, or don't be in TV. Like that's the options. Listen, Kendrick Perkins is still somewhere talking about something, babbling on like he knows a thing or two. So like, it's not like we're not going to have
Perkins,
him.
Man.
There is no one I hate in sports media more than Kendrick Perkins. Period. End of story. Goodbye. See you later. Dude's a bumbling idiot. He is a bumbling idiot. And he says the stupidest stuff ever. And then he threatens physical violence against people that disagree with him on air. Like, oh, that's not how we deal with it. And where I'm from. Anyways. No, I hate Kendrick Perkins. I hate Kendrick Perkins.
I just think with Draymond Green, I think he's like Kendrick Perkins. He's just got to fight everyone. It's got to be a roast or something. It's like Draymond, man. Like, you've got to realize.
I mean, you can take the kid out of Saginaw, but you can't take the Saginaw out of the kid, unfortunately.
Like, it's when it comes to Draymond, that's why I want him to be the Michigan State basketball head coach so bad, because he's going to be worse than Juwan Howard in terms of crashing out. Like, it's going to be intense. They're going to be rebound the basketball and all this. Sure.
Yeah.
But if we're being honest, Draymond Green might not be the head coach for half these games, because he's going to crash out on the refs. And the refs are going to be like, hey, gone. Like, with Draymond Green, I mean, can respect his basketball IQ. He can respect everything else.
Of course.
Was he the greatest? Was he maybe one of the luckiest players of all time? Potentially, because of the teams that he was surrounded with and what Steve Kerr did for his game personally. But I just think a little bit of Draymond Green, you've got to respect some people, man. Like, you've got to respect the older ones before. I get it. He might just say, yeah, we're just busting each other's balls, man. We're guys, we're dudes, whatever. But it's like, Draymond, if you're, like you mentioned, if you're going to be on TV and you're going to be with that cast of crew, you're going to be with that crew, which, to be honest with you, I don't really listen to any of their basketball talk. I can just kind of listen to them making fun of each other. I can't really stand listening to Shaq and Charles Barkley talk time and time again. Like, Kenny is fine. I think Kenny, because I can actually hear Kenny enunciate. But if Draymond, you're going to be with that crew, you ain't going to last very long before there's going to be some Mario Impemba and Rod Allen stuff that happen on behind the scenes. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's completely fair.
Next thing you know, Draymond and Shaq will be headlocking each other for a seat on air.
And I mean, I like I said, I like Inside the NBA. I like those guys. I think it's a great product. I just think that this whole beef is just it's taken over social media, and like Austin Rivers said, they don't give out head coaching jobs to people who would potentially punch players or staff. And that's
Michigan State. You should totally do that. Michigan State. Here's the thing. Hire Draymond Green to be your next head coach. Why? Because it's going to be toughness. He's going to develop kids. They're going to rebound really well. They're going to play really fast. Let's totally forget about all the different things like he's going to crash out. He's probably not a really good X's and O guy. He's probably just going to yell at everyone in the huddle. Just yell at everyone. There's probably going to be lots of fights at practice and behind the scenes. So Michigan State, if you're watching, please hire Draymond Green to be your next head basketball coach, because it's going to bring a lot of joy to myself and the Michigan basketball fan base. So please, Michigan State, when Tom Izzo gets to his next Sweet 16 appearance and crashes out in it and doesn't make a Final Four, make sure to hire Draymond Green. And that message is authorized by Ryan Glinsky.
Did you start counting with your thumb? Did I just see that correctly? Did you just go 1, 2? Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I always start with.
Yeah, no.
I've seen it. I've even seen someone start with pinky and then, which that's
I mean, I could
very
do both
weird
ways.
to me.
I like
but
thumb, though. It's like
yeah, I mean, I thought you were giving me the thumbs up for a second, because I went like this and you were like
1, 2, 3. Yeah, no, I
was like, oh, okay, all right, cool, nice. Let's get into question of the day.
Question of the day brought to you by Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off that #1 smell-proof cleat bag that 100% works. Scan that QR code on your screen or visit saltathletic.com today. The question of the day: what's a city that you don't want to see win a sports title?
Just in general. I mean, you know what? I poo-poo LA, and I don't like New York, and that's fair. But New York has been tortured, man. Like I had no reason. I mean, okay, they're just obnoxious. Okay, I'll give you that. Knicks,
they got Super Bowls. The Giants have won some recently.
Knicks fans are insufferable. I don't want to talk to them. Y'all haven't won anything since the 70s. Like, you literally cannot talk. The last time you won, it was the cameras were in black and white and the shorts were up to the you know what. So,
I do like the Knicks fans after playoff wins, though.
They are funny. I'll give you that. Yeah, they can go a little bit.
Trae Young. We hate Trae Young. I think it's great. I'm not going to lie. I think
he's not even on the floor. He's not even with the team anymore.
They literally chant Trae Young when they play the Hawks. Trae Young's not on the team. I love it, man. I think the fans inside. I love the videos, man. I love the videos.
But just on social media, they can tend to be a little obnoxious. But then again, who's not? But not New York, not LA. How about this? I'll go Boston area, unless we're talking about hockey. Hockey, I'm so sick of warm weather states getting Stanley Cups. What the hell is this? What is this garbage? You know what I mean? Like, if anything, give Canada a Stanley Cup. Give those people something to feel good about.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
That, like 50-year winless streak. Nope. We got to keep it rolling, especially what happened in the Olympics. Nope.
Give the Leafs a Stanley Cup or something.
No. Andrew Gerber, if you're somehow watching this, I do not want the Leafs to win.
I do.
There was, quick story, when I first started working at Central Athletics, this was like probably a month or two in, and one of my good broadcasting buddies, Logan Lewandowski, goes, dude, you should go up to Gerber, who our boss was, and just tell him you want the Leafs to lose tonight. And I'm like, who are they playing? He's like, I don't know, but just tell him that the Leafs. I'm like, okay. I go, Gerber, the Leafs aren't going to win tonight. He was so locked in on his laptop, and he somehow turns and goes, do you want to get fired? I'm like, huh? And I turn around and Logan's died laughing in the corner. And he goes, Logan, did you put him up to this? And I'm like, he's like, nah, man, nah. And he goes, Ryan, I'm a massive Leafs fan. Do not bring them up. I know we're not going to win a Stanley Cup.
Oh,
so
man,
I continue to want the Leafs to lose, man.
All right, okay. So that one hits a little bit closer to home with you. No, I'll say Boston area, man. I mean, goodness, do you need any more? I mean, the Celtics have 8 million titles. The Patriots have 8 million titles. The Red Sox have 8 million titles. You guys are so entitled because of this. You have a couple of bad years for your sports teams. You're like, this is terrible. I can't believe it. Blah, blah, blah. Like, imagine being Arizona for a second. Okay, imagine being Phoenix or being Detroit or Cleveland or any of these places. Like, the Cavs, they darn near burnt down the town when they won that NBA championship in 2016. That was their first title in 50 years, and they haven't had one since. You know, Detroit, what was the last title we had? What? Oh, whatever. I mean,
unless you count the Wolverines. Exactly. Hey, we got 2.
Well, I mean, that's good.
We
do have
too.
college sports. I'll give you that. But this is
and the Broncos got a hockey Hattie in there too. Jesus,
dude, Boston kids do not know what it's like to suck. Like, they're always good. I don't know. Well, Foxborough. Sorry. Before we get in trouble again on social media, I got to work that one in there. No, Boston area, Boston teams. I
do not. To be honest with you, Nate, I just don't want the whole state. But if I will go a city, I'm going Cleveland. I don't want Cleveland to win anything. I want them to stay as abysmal or as miserable sports fans. I know we had Kevin Arnold on the show. Kevin, don't want the Cavs or the Browns or anyone to win.
Respect, though. Respect,
but,
you know.
Respect your knowledge of the game and your commentary skills. Respect. But I am just saying, I do not want anyone in Cleveland to win anything. If I could ask the question, I should have just rephrased it. What's a state you don't want to win? It'd be the whole state of Ohio. Which, by the way, that douchebag Ohio State fan at the Bruno Mars concert who, as everyone's walking out, F the Wolverines, 27-9. Dude, we're at a Bruno Mars concert. That's a very weird, insecure little behavior you got there, kid.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, you've won 1 out of the last 4 opportunities. And the only reason you won this time is because our head coach was too busy DMing OnlyFans models at halftime. And maybe we could go back to a basketball national championship, which I know Ohio State fans, you're not really used to being good at multiple sports at a time. I know you're not really used to that. But Michigan Athletics has got 2 natties in the biggest sports in the last 3 years or 4 years, whatever it is. I digress.
Yeah, imagine not being a one-trick pony. You know, imagine sending like 100 former athletes to the Olympics. Imagine winning a championship in basketball. Imagine making a Frozen Four in hockey. Imagine and not losing to Michigan 5 times in one season, by the way. Imagine doing any of that other stuff and not just hibernating until football season's back around. Yeah, I mean,
we're not number 1 in the nation.
Nice.
We can't.
Yeah,
which
it must be nice.
I did find out via Kevin that they are good at fencing. They're very good at fencing.
Ah, okay, all right.
So,
good.
But
Nice.
I don't want Cleveland.
So they'll stab you they'll stab you in Columbus, or they'll play you in football. Either way, but
I don't want Cleveland to be good because LeBron, 2. The whole mistake at the lake, like let's continue to be bad together. 3,
I'll give you Harden. I don't want to see Harden succeed.
James Harden. 4, Donovan Mitchell complaining about crying. 5, I just don't like them. 6, probably because like they're also bad and we're also kind of bad, so like that's fine. 7, had some douchebags to us when I was down in Cleveland. 8, I'm kind of OHIL. If I got to hear that again, that's number 8. Thank you, Nate. Number 9, probably because I feel like it just smells in that town.
It's
10,
a little smelly. Yeah.
I feel like
a little bit.
10, I feel like, oh, that's 10. You got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, yet you don't produce anything. It's like, well, no one has it, so let's just get it. Let's just put it here so we can actually have people come to our state. Like, let's just have all the Hall of Fames. Like, we're not going to produce any of the talent. We're not going to produce any musicians. Football, maybe we produce a little bit. We're not going to produce really any of the main talent, but we're going to claim the Hall of Fame, like, just because so people can come to our state. That's the 10 reasons why.
Okay. Well, that last one cuts deep. You could have just said it's Ohio for your 1 through 10, but you actually put some thought into that one.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it's, I don't really need. Okay, I can see that. I can see that. I just
Sorry,
think,
Kevin. I do like you, Kevin. I do like you, Kevin.
The Boston area folks are just spoiled, man. They're just
that's
spoiled.
true too. That's true.
Spoiled rotten. Same with LA. I'll give LA that. But again, I was trying to think deeper than just
the
listing LA because it's easy.
LA.
Yeah,
exactly.
Whatever. But anyways, that'll wrap up episode 285. Again, we appreciate you guys as always dropping by the show. No, we get a lot of comments on this one. Continue to get more comments and more live views. We will be posting obviously on social media, National Soccer Network, as well as Sports Nation.
With a Z.
Another game of the with a Z. Another USL W and USL 2 game of the week coming up on Saturday. We will have the announcer on the show again to talk about the USL W game of the week. He is so I will be here to talk about that. If you would like to talk about that, Ryan, maybe you can interview me. That'd be fun. The host interviews the other host. No? Okay.
No.
All right. Well, anyways, with all that said, we'll be back for episode 286 tomorrow here on Inside the Game.
So Nate, what do you like about this upcoming matchup?
Let me do my homework a little bit. We'll talk about it on 286.
He likes the colors, guys. He likes the color schemes, guys. He likes the color schemes.
See ya.